So today I will talk about GNU Land, GNU Lang, GNU Community, everything GNU. Maybe not GNU Airdrop, which is another topic. So I'm Manfred Touron. I'm the founder of Berti Technologies, which is developing a peer-to-peer anti-censorship, anti-surveillance messaging protocol, an application, a mobile application, a protocol, and we're an NGO. I am a cybersecurity engineer and very addicted to open source software, and particularly in Golang. And GNU is a project I joined recently, which is a new blockchain made by people that were already building blockchains in the past. So the creators of Tendermint, for instance. And we try to address multiple problems. We try to make something for a very, very far future, including the lack of transparency that you can see in smart contracts in general, that can bring security issues on Cosmos-M, for instance. Lack of fairness and justice with a political approach to make something very for the people. And ultimately, we want to make the platform where it's the easiest and more powerful to build smart contracts. I will make a short version of another talk I gave at HCC about the language, and after I will talk about the Cosmos, the impact of GNU in the Cosmos ecosystem. So here is a quick overview of the language. The language is a full independent L1 smart contracting chain, VM that can be embedded on a chain, no dependence by default. We write contracts in GNU, which is a new language based on Golang. It's not interpreted. We upload it's interpreted and not compiled. So you upload the sources and not the binaries. It's completely deterministic. It's safe, etc. And we design it for the next level of interoperability between contracts and chains. So the vision. We want to make something like Go, which is often seen as one of the simplest languages that power a lot of amazing applications. You have a lot of more complex languages. This one is simple, but you can basically build everything. We want to enforce the transparency, so there is no option to be a good developer. You are, by default, transparent. And we try to make an experience where, if you come from the Web 2 world, you can write contracts. So quick demos. The first one is simple contract with one exposed method, which is hello, and another private method. So you write a package like in Go. This code compile in Go, even if it won't make anything useful. But actually, it is a contract that you can call. You publish the contract like on most other chains, so you publish the sources. And a big difference is that you don't upload the contract and retrieve a hash address. You upload and choose a path. So that's kind of a GitHub repository. You upload and choose how you will name the contract. Then when you call the contract, you can just call the vanity name instead of a hash. In terms of data, so persistency, storing, etc., you declare global variables, and automatically the chain will save the state at the end. So in this example, we have a total integer, which is on first publish set at 1000. And then each time someone will call the add function, it will add the value. So there is no way to specify I want to store something. You just declare a variable and it will be automatically stored. We have a special render function. If it's implemented by a contract, it will make basically a web proxy of your contract. So anyone, just by opening a browser or making HTTP request, can get the value. And the value is not limited to just get the integer or something. It's actually real rendering with dynamic parsing, etc. So at the end, you can make a kind of DApp without any other dependencies. In the example, you can see I call greeting/Manfred, which is clearly not hard-coded in the code. And this is a request that won't save the state at the end. that won't cost any gas, etc. Here we start going into the interesting part because GNU is made for interoperability, and here you can import other packages. On most other smart contracting platforms, when you import something, you will import a dependency and you will build the binary. Here you are importing a code that is another published contract. By doing that, you can use the method. You can also write on the other contract, if the contract permits it. And we are not limited to just calling function. You can actually make real object-oriented programming because you can call a structure and call subpath. So at the end, you are not limited to function. You are not limited to simple types. You can go with very nested and complex variables. And so I said that you don't upload the binary but the source, which means by default, you will have all the source available so that the unforced transparency part of the source, it's not possible to upload the binary or hide something wrong. You need to upload the sources. The sources are always available and readable. By default, you upload the test, and then you give some hints on how you want people to use the contract. And automatically, you will get some documentation. So this is very basic, but you can imagine having a smart wallet or anything that understands or discovers the contract features. And you have other examples. So this is just a reminder of GNU-Lang, just the language part, which is not limited to one chain, but can be implemented as a plugin like Cosmo, Asm, etc. And now I will speak about GNU-Land, which is a blockchain using GNU-Lang. So GNU-Land is the first blockchain that won't be the only one. At the beginning, that's the only one because we want to not have too much dependence and need to maintain some software for other chains. So we will focus on just one chain with the native token GNOT, where you maybe heard some airdrop news, etc. It started as a fork of Tendermint, but actually it will probably be the base for Tendermint 2. Tendermint 2, which will be a new version with a different paradigm from Tendermint 1, and we plan to just focus on GNU-Land, make it production ready, etc., and then maybe extract Tendermint 2. Another mission of GNU-Land will be to centralize the good practices of how to write contracts. Since you can import other contracts from any other contract, even from other users, the goal is to make GNU-Land the place with the highest quality contracts with review system. So if you run another GNU chain later, you can import the official trusted version of what is the gRC20, etc. And GNU-Land is particular because it will follow the system of proof of staking, but it will be proof of contribution. I will speak about this later. And you can consider the chain like a MMORPG, because technically we just have tools to build new contracts, interact with contracts. We cannot delete contracts, but at the end it's an always growing program which is always running and which can be extended. In terms of roadmap, we are very early, a very small team, and we are actively looking for contributors in general and core contributors to integrate in the core team and to help us define the vision, etc. So I will speak about all the targets later. So yes, at the moment we are focused on embedding developers. You heard about the airdrop. There will be an airdrop, but right now we don't want to embed too many users. We prefer to embed many developers or contributors in general, not only developers. So Tendermint 2. Tendermint 2 is a project. It's not fully defined, but for the moment it's based on everything that frustrates the original authors of Tendermint. Specifically the complexity, the amount of dependencies, potentially the limits of how to develop things. And there is a goal to make an alternative version of Tendermint, which will probably be named Tendermint 2, to keep Tendermint 1 running because there is a lot of production and there is still a good idea and a good... it's still important to keep Tendermint 1 and its philosophy, but at the same time we will have another version, Tendermint 2. Tendermint 2 will be less modular, less flexible, maybe less performant, we don't know, but it will be focused on making something more simple, something that could live for maybe very, very large amount of years, maybe 100 years without any updates. We want to make something finished. Then come IBC2. IBC2 could be the evolution of IBC with smart contract in the heart, where IBC1 is more focused on transactions. Here we want to make something so you can have real integration between the chains in terms of contracts. So it will be something about reading other chains, but also about writing other chains. You can imagine some kind of microservices where each service is a blockchain. And the ultimate goal is to make a Merkle tree so you can not only depend on one central point, but say, I want the users of Cosmos. And the answer of that question will be, okay, this is the GNOland part, this is the second chain part, etc. Proof of contribution is the heart of GNOland community. We don't want to impose this method to other GNO chains, but for us, GNO is like a cooperative of developers that build the chain for other chains, and we want to make the chain itself, the VM that you can reuse in your chains, but also the smart contract, the template, the packages, so you can build a stronger contract on your own chain. So we have a system where basically you contribute, you gain shares. The shares will mint you the native token at the end. So the earlier you contribute, the longer you will have a reward, and the more notable your contribution is, more rewards you will get. So basically, we want to make something where the more you contribute for the chain, for the ecosystem, the more you are rewarded, and then we put the blockchain somewhere, and it's auto-living with the usage and the contributors. The core contributors are a special role. They are contributors. They will continue to earn rewards based on contributions, but they will have some responsibilities in terms of reviewing, assigning, roadmap, helping others, and they will get, like a normal company, some kind of vested shares. So you are elected from multiple years. You need to reapply each time, and each time you gain responsibilities, and you will lead some part of the project. As a core contributor, you can make technical stuff, but also non-technical stuff. And we want to make something between 100 and 334 members, because we think a good big company, a good group is about 300 persons. We would prefer individual contributors because it's easier to monitor the involvement in the project as a standard person. For some companies, it will also be possible. And the core contributors will gain more shares, more tokens. They will also have access to some kind of votes dedicated to the future of the chain. And yes, the goal is to make a cooperative, so in every contributor is owning the chain or a part of the chain. We want to experiment liquid governance, so not only vote accessible to anyone or for the best stakers. We want to make something where some vote will be more for users, for validators, for contributors, for co-contributors, maybe with some kind of percent. So this vote is 80% for users and 20% for validators, etc. Staking won't be in the core of the chain, but will probably be implemented as a contract, because we don't need staking for the proof of stake. We will do proof of contribution, but staking can be useful maybe to protect something or to create value on the token, but also to make this governance based on staking. Basically, the IBC evolution will probably look like this. So at the beginning, GNO will be connected with Cosmos with IBC, a standard IBC, non-modified IBC. Then IBC will be extended on GNU to support more advanced features. So Cosmos won't be updated, just GNU and the chain using the extended version of IBC. And then we try to make the IBC2, which is going in the vision of making, yes, an internet of chain where there is a big Merkle structure. And this is a very long-term project. We want to make something simple, limited in features, but that will stay for a very, very long time. We want it to be a new hub, not a token hub, etc., but the hub of the developers, the hub of the trust, of governance, etc. So it will be a very long chain in the runtime, but we hope to make it a very short chain in the build phase to make it finished at a moment. So we just govern it, but don't extend it. There will be some kind of licensing model, probably. So even another chain using GNU will reward the contributors of GNU. And we try to natively make something similar to GitHub, where you can basically upload your contract in your namespace username of yourself or your company. And then you can gain rewards, expose your code, etc. Right now, you can already try to write your contract or contribute to the core, so as a developer. You can try to develop DApps that will be depending or connected with GNU. You can also try to propose anything that can help the community. Just remember that the current focus is to onboard more contributors, not just more users. And you can join the Discord where we discuss everything. And that's all from me. If you have any question.
I actually had one. Could you talk a bit more about the in the 100 years thing, incentivizing people to contribute and having like publishing their code in some GitHub-like thing, and what you think, how you think that could look?
We think that with a share system, there will be a natural dilution of the shares because we won't take your shares back, except in the case of a core contributor that makes a bad thing, so we fire him. But if you gain shares because you made a contribution and we transparently show the shares, then for the lifetime you will gain reward. But the reward at the beginning will be maybe 10% of the chain, and progressively will go to nearly zero. So we want to have this part for the chain itself, but then you can imagine also having something not about having shares on the global chain, but just licensing what you made, so your contract, and get some fees on your contract. We plan to make on IBC2 some kind of way to measure the licensing. So by using a special part, at least we make a counter. We don't know if it will be used, but we will make some way to monitor the usage of a package. And yes, at the end, you can contribute right now and gain money for the rest of your life. Just if you don't make anything new, it will go below and below. But you can also imagine just don't caring about the whole ecosystem, just publishing your nice smart contract and expect people to use it.
That's really cool. Thanks. Do we have any other questions?
Just the GNOT and the shares, it's a token or it's a coin?
I don't understand.
Like difference. It's a smart contract token?
No, it will be native.
Yeah, native. Okay.
The shares will probably be a smart contract, but actually the chain, we have two options. Currently, this is interesting because I learned this very recently. I was sure that proof of staking was very in-depth of the protocol. Actually, it's very basic. You use the chain, you pay gas. This gas won't be distributed right now, it will be put in a big bucket, and proof of staking is the algorithm of taking this bucket and giving it to validators and their delegators. We will do the same. You use the chain, you have some gas, you put in a big bucket, and it will be a smart contract that will look for the shares, because the shares will be a smart contract. We want to make something fully transparent, so you gain share by TX. The TX gives the reason, the author of the shares giving, and the smart contract will probably once per day or multiple times per day take each shares, make a fraction of each shares, and give the reward based on the bucket. So actually, GNOT will be a native token. Shares will be a contracting token, GRC20 probably, and the proof of contribution will be paid by the contract. The chain will be very stupid.
Okay, thanks.